Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of what we call the Screen Chronicles. I'm Kevin Stojic, and with me, as always, is Golby Griffin. How are you doing today, Golby?
Kevin, I'm doing really, really well. Uh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. So today we're talking about a couple things. We're breaking down. First of all, we're going to do a spoiler talk for WandaVision, the first 3 episodes, and then we're also going to do a sort of review and talk about Wonder Woman 1984, since we haven't done that yet. It's going to be a big old fun episode here. Let's jump into WandaVision. First topic here. Let's get spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, people, because if you haven't seen it, they're a quick watch. Go watch them quick, but little spoiler alert. Not that we know everything, but we have some cool stuff to talk about.
Yeah. First of all, I'll just say, I guess, when the first 2 episodes came out, because it first came out on Disney Plus, WandaVision, first 2 episodes were available. I didn't even know that it was coming out. Like, I had seen the trailers for it, like a month or so, maybe more ago. I forget how long. And this was a show I was like, it looks interesting. I'm not hyped for it or anything.
I had no idea what to think with the trailers.
Yeah.
Like, zero idea.
And I just started seeing memes on Instagram and things like that, which is the only reason I even knew it was out. I was like, oh, WandaVision must be out. And I started seeing reviews for it. So I watched it, and anyone who's watched, it's like a sitcom here. Here in the beginning, it's clearly sort of parodying like the old black and white sitcoms. I don't know, 50s, 30s to 50s.
First one's
60s.
parodying Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah.
And a little bit I Love Lucy, but a lot of Dick Van Dyke. Even like the set is very similar to the Dick Van Dyke Show. The intro was by the way, really cool how weird and cool that they do the full like Avengers updated intro. Like it's got new images.
Had Tony Stark with the snap.
And it slowly fades from the nice colorful Marvel logo. It slowly fades by the end to black and white.
And the aspect
ratio
crunches
and
in.
The sound turns into what you would hear in an old TV, which is really subtle. I didn't pick that out myself, but they did consciously do that to make you feel like you were back watching the show back then. So just little details like that. They didn't have to do that,
No, it's cool. I guess that Marvel is trying to mix it up. I guess one thing people have been saying is they're concerned about superhero fatigue, and Marvel's like, we don't care. And the thing is, they're just gonna have superheroes now. Superheroes are just gonna be in different genres now. I mean, Winter Soldier was a thriller, and Endgame and Infinity War were like an epic, and so I mean, I think this is going to keep going. I think we're just going to keep seeing different stuff.
And can I say my comparison with this though? Overall, yes, it feels like an older show and it's moving through time, but it really kind of feels like the old Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
like that's what I get the vibe of.
But anyway, though, I mean, the first episode, I mean, it's just like a sitcom. And, there's this weird thing at the table at the end, but like you're just watching a sitcom, and you get like they're kind of doing a parody on some things, and the women are like very ostentatious, like, oh, I'll make the house. Oh, and the men are like, oh, I've got to get this done. And
I got to go to work.
It was kind of cute, but like, it was also just like, I'm just kind of watching an old show right now. Like it's like I'm not getting any details,
Right. As far as like a huge superhero fan who wants like story that means something, it didn't feel like we were getting that, I guess, in the first episode. I think we were. I think now that I've seen all 3, I think there's stuff going on, and I think there's things I didn't pick up on the first time that the second time I did. But there's a lot of kind of corny humor that I actually kind of enjoyed.
It was enjoyable.
Like, for example, Wanda breaks a plate over Vision's head, I think. And she's like, something like, oh, if only my husband had an indestructible head, very sarcastically. And it's kind of funny. because
Yeah.
Vision definitely does not have an indestructible head from Endgame or of Infinity War.
That's right. Oh, that's right. I didn't even pick up on that. I just thought she was making like a superhero joke about him. Because yeah, she's like floating a plate and he runs
Yeah,
into it and he's like, "Oh,
yeah.
my wife, the levitator or whatever." And she's like, "My husband indestructible." Oh yeah, that's right. He got his
It's a
head.
little hint of sarcasm there.
Ooh.
Little hint of
Mm.
sarcasm there. But backing it up to the beginning of this episode, just a couple like things about the show. It's clear that they're living. They just moved to this house. It said in the intro. Okay, so they're new here, I guess. And although it's weird because it seems like Vision's been working at this place for a little bit of time,
Mm.
Vision at home looks like Vision and then disguises himself into human form when he leaves, or when people come over. So
And they make it like it's like a zany like sitcom thing, kind of like
yeah,
Third
no,
Rock from the Sun, where they're all aliens or whatever, and they're just pretending to be human.
yeah, they're pretending to be human. They get into this funny episode beginning where he goes to work and some guy had a bad dinner with his boss and got fired. He's like, I thought 6 courses would be enough. It was pretty funny. And Vision's turn is coming up. And he is kind of facing either getting promoted or getting fired with this dinner. So these are the kind of plots we're working with here in the first episode. It's a little kind of like, I just watched like that sweet ass Avenger intro. And now we're like,
Now we're just doing sitcom
like a
drama.
minute ago, Doctor Strange had 18 arms and Iron Man just snapped and Hulk was going nuts. And now, so it was a little weird.
Yeah, it was. It was. But it even that though, you did have a little bit of an inclination something weird was going on because, like you said, they just moved in, but they already have this established life. But at the same time, they don't remember anything from like
Right.
their world, other than they know how like the rules of the sitcom work. They know to be goofy and they know they have to hide their powers and stuff. But
Right.
but they don't like they see a heart on the calendar. They don't remember if it's an anniversary, if it's a dinner.
Mhm.
Like it turns out it's a dinner with the boss,
Which
Mr.
plays
Hart.
off like an I Love Lucy episode, I feel like, where that might happen in I Love Lucy, where like they forget their anniversary or something.
Yeah, it was like a zany, goofy,
Yeah.
can't remember thing. But it was also
Oh,
like,
better figure it out.
why don't they know this, right? Like it was
And
also
Wanda
like,
goes out and buys like some sexy clothes for her
oh, that's right.
husband.
Yeah, she thinks it's anniversary, so she's about to get it on when he comes home.
He figures out that it's a heart for Mr. Hart for dinner. Yeah, which is kind of funny when she comes home and I think he does the excuse, oh, this is classic Sokovian dinnerware or something. And Mrs. Foreman from that 70s show
Yeah.
plays the Mrs. Hart in this. And she's, I mean, I've always liked her as Mrs. Foreman.
Yeah.
And she's pretty good in this too.
She does have like that
Kitty.
classic like sitcom wife kind of thing
Yeah,
going
she
on with
fits
her.
in well. Mm-hmm.
And then she gets creepy as hell when
Oh my God.
the whole dinner,
this is-
they're trying to piece it all together. But then like the guy starts choking, Mr. Hart starts choking on something. And I think they were like making a bad joke before that, and the wife was like, "Stop it!" And then like it just like is like a cycle,
She's, like,
but he's like choking and like starts to drop and die, and they're just like all just staring around like.
There's like it's really weird. So that's the interesting thing. It's sort of like the show was going pretty smooth. It was all wacky and zany. Wanda's got to put this dinner together super fast because she didn't know. She turns a chicken into a bunch of eggs, which should only turn into one egg if
if you know how chickens work.
If you know how chickens work. But what I was going to say was that dinner, that it had been smooth till then, and then all of a sudden it's like a glitch or something. It just got weird really quick. And that's why I say it kind of felt like Twilight Zone there. What's interesting about her saying stop it repeatedly, and it's like kind of like a happy joking stop it, and it turns into a really worried stop it directed at Wanda.
Yeah, right.
She like turns her head because she's telling her husband to stop it from choking. Stop it. And then a worried stop it to Wanda, which is very interesting. And Wanda,
but she's still like laughing. Like, stop it.
Yeah, and it's creepy. It's
I just
really
gotta
creepy.
chill. I just gotta chill. I just chilled
I
myself.
can't, like, if that was a little creepy for me, I can't imagine how creepy that was for you.
I didn't like it.
And Wanda does this very, like, matter of fact, like, look at Vision after a long kind of stare into space, says, Vision, save him. Almost as if Vision was like looking for permission or something.
Or if like he didn't know how to respond unless he was told, right?
Yeah. And then he kind of breaks and he takes the thing out, like reaches into the neck.
Yeah.
And
does his ghost hand.
And then sits down and they just, Kitty Foreman's like, well, I guess it's time to go. And it's just normal. Like, it's not like anybody blacked out. It wasn't like they paused time or erased their memory. They just like, they got up and left. So that was a very interesting scene. And I feel like it was the first little look at sort of some kind of system failure or something, whatever is going on here.
And I get that they're trying to have this set up and they want to build the tension and the mystery behind things, but at the same time, the second episode throws in a couple more questionable things, but otherwise, it's just another sitcom. And
there's not much to go off of after the first two, I feel like.
Yeah, and I was just like, we probably could have combined this into one, and we could have. Like, I get we wanted to we probably had like a bunch of different jokes that they were like, oh, let's parody this and that. And so they were like, we can make 2 episodes out of it. But I was just
did
like,
have some good jokes.
I almost didn't watch the third one just because after the second one, I was like, I get it. There's some mystery, but I'm not going to watch a sitcom that, even though it's being a parody, it's still just an uninteresting sitcom to me, But until you were like, you have to watch the third one. And then I was like, all right. And it was,
we just talked a minute ago about superhero fatigue. And I think like this show so far has been a little refreshing for me to have a different spin on it. You know what I mean? Like, this is way different than anything I've ever watched, even though it's parodying old shows. Like, this is really kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And the way the first one, it pans out to a screen in like a lab or something at the end. At the end of the first episode.
Yeah. It's like they're watching on a monitor.
There's something going on, and then kind of creepy music plays after that and more serious music. So, but it is just so wacky and cheesy, like the joking and the humor, and it's kind of fun.
One thing too, the commercial in the first one, it was like this toaster thing. And it was like a Stark. So you're like, okay, like Stark Industries didn't make toasters. They made weapons until Tony Stark, revamped it into the Iron Man peacekeeping, whatever thing.
Right.
Clean energy and all that stuff. So, and I don't think the company was that old. So you're like, all right, there's definitely some outside influence somehow leaking in here. And it was kind of funny too that the guy was just like, your woman will now know how to work a toaster or something like that. And she's like, it's so easy, I can do it.
Early on. Yeah, it's so sexist early on, but they're making it satirical.
Yeah,
exactly. They're making a statement with it. But it's kind of funny. And there's another one, I think, in episode 3. We'll get there with the babies, and he's like, it's easier for women to understand by fruit, size of fruit.
So yeah, the first one ends with that, and you see there's that glitch, and then it ends with the guy watching like the events, like it is a TV program on a TV in this other room with other monitors and weird stuff going on. So you're like, okay, this is somehow, are they controlling their minds? Are they like locked into the Matrix, Vision and Wanda? What's going on here?
Yeah. Are they in some kind of simulation here?
Yeah.
And if they're in a simulation, why does it have like a TV show format? I don't know. It seemed so weird after the first episode. I think I literally said, what did I just watch? I had several people text me saying, what did I just watch? It was kind of funny. I don't think anybody expected it to be like that.
Yeah.
But
in the second one,
I trust Marvel people. I trust the people who make Marvel things. They usually have brilliant ideas.
I do. The second one, though, pretty much starts out. It's in the same universe. There's like a tree banging outside, and they're jumping. They're like, oh my goodness. And it's funny that they're in 2 different beds too, like how the Dick Van Dyke show was too. They would sleep in two different beds because it was like too scandalous to see a man
Yeah.
and the woman in the bed together on the TV back then. Like they're just
Yeah.
gonna be instantly fucking each other if they're just right next to each other.
And the next one kind of resembles Bewitched a little bit.
Oh yeah, I
Like
never
it's the
saw
next. It's like the next generation up.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's all that sitcom, but then she does when Wanda goes outside. Then she sees there's this plane that's in color, you know, in like
Or a
edges.
helicopter, right? Yeah.
Oh, helicopter. You're right. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like red, and she was like looking at it like, oh, like what is this? It's weird, and
And it was the only thing in color. Nothing else was in color.
yeah.
It was this orange and gold, or a red and gold
Mhm.
color.
And then she has to go to a dinner party to meet the head woman of the suburbs, and then Vision is gonna meet the guys with the neighborhood watch because of the clanging outside, and
Another wacky scenario this
a
episode.
wacky scenario. And Vision ends up chewing gum, and for some reason just decides to swallow it, or maybe he gets hit on the back or something.
Yeah, I think I
can't
hit it on back or something, and he doesn't eat food. Remember?
Yeah,
he's like
he doesn't
there.
eat-
He's like, "Oh, I don't eat food," and everybody laughed. Oh, Vision, you're so funny. Like that kind of corny humor.
Yeah,
I liked
exactly.
It. I liked it. But yeah, he's at this meeting, and he also accuses somebody of being like a socialist at the meeting, and everybody
like-
starts
he's
freaking
like,
out.
"Tom's
And
a
then they think
communist."
he's joking, Yeah. and then they just joke again. But is there a hidden layer under that? Is there a hidden layer under that?
Mhm.
'Cause,
I wonder.
You know, that helicopter was red, and I think you hear the sound before Wanda goes out, and I think it like starts like it could be like a hedge trimmer or something outside, and then she comes out in this helicopter with the sword logo on it.
That's right. That's right. It was a weird noise when she went out.
Yeah, and was that like a real helicopter that was like going overhead? That was maybe monitoring something that maybe she was able to shrink down or something.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's the thing too. We'll get to here is that the first one I was thinking that they were sort of like trapped in the Matrix or something here, essentially.
they were stuck in something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second one though, you kind of start to question that because a couple things happen. Like what you were saying. Now that I've seen the third one, I'm picking up on the helicopter thing. But then also,
Yeah.
you see at the end she does like a little rewind too
Mm-hmm.
when she doesn't like something that happens.
Yeah, we'll get there in a sec. But yeah.
But then now looking at these other things now too, you're just like, ooh, is she the one in control of this
Yeah.
world?
You look back to that dinner scene, and it's like she influenced that scene.
Yeah.
The characters were looking to her for what to do,
Yeah.
which isn't really clear to you when you first watch it. You have no clue what the hell is going on.
Yeah. And even most of this one, I was still thinking they were trapped in the Matrix
Same.
because there's when she goes to the dinner party, then there's this radio thing there, and it's like, Wanda, can you hear me? Who's doing this to you? Wanda.
Who's doing this to you? Yeah.
And you're just like, oh shit, like someone's like trying to rescue her here.
And it's another crazy Twilight Zone moment with what's her name?
Who?
Connie or something. The mean lady. That
Oh,
runs
yeah,
the
like
meeting.
the head suburb bitch.
Yeah. And she, it's just a really intense stare down again. And Wanda, the thing is that threw me is Wanda just looks so confused when all these things are happening. She looks really puzzled by the helicopter. She looked really puzzled at dinner for a while until she like snapped into it.
Mm-hmm.
She looked puzzled with the radio thing. She just like, it was strange. So it made me think like she's like really weirded out by all this stuff that's happening.
Yeah, like this, and that's what made me think that
Mhm.
kept reinforcing the idea that she's the one trapped in whatever this is going on here.
Right. And then they have this weird dinner thing, and they are going to the meeting, and then they're planning this talent show thing.
Mm-hmm. For the children.
For the children. So this becomes interesting. This becomes very interesting. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I have a theory.
Okay.
You want me
Go
to spill it now or wait?
Spill it now. It's all spoilers here.
Okay. Spoilers here. So I'm going to jump to episode 3 real quick. Obviously, Wanda gets... No, it's at the end of this episode. I'm sorry. So we can kind of talk about it here.
Yeah.
Wanda just gets pregnant in about a second. And so it's kind of crazy. She's like full blown pregnant. And Yeah. Um, and if you remember when Mrs. Hart came in, she like started questioning them. She was like, "When did you move here? How long have you been here? And why don't you have any children?"
Mm,
Kind of aggressively with that one.
yeah,
Yeah, and she kind of hits him with that.
that's right.
Why
That's
don't you have
right.
any children? And then in this one, they really put emphasis for the talent show thing for the children.
Yeah, and like they all
For the
said it
children. Yeah,
very
really
creepily.
weird. And there are no children around.
There are
Like
no
they're
children at the talent show.
at the talent show, anything. My theory is that somebody is trying to manipulate Wanda into having the children.
Hmm.
That's my theory. I do think Wanda has control in this world, but I don't think she's like it's just her. I think that it's a combination of maybe she's stuck in a simulation with control, she can still do stuff, or maybe there's other people in this world with her. But that's kind of one of my theories is that maybe they're trying to get her to have a child or something.
Hmm.
Maybe. Or it's just that she wants one so bad and it's manifesting into all this weird stuff. Could
Yeah,
be that too.
I don't know, because I'm kind of reading it as, she is kind of creating this world into like her ideal scenario that um if Vision wasn't killed and like her brother didn't die and all these bad things didn't happen to her, like maybe she was watching, a sitcom, American
Yeah.
sitcoms back in Sarkovia, and like that to her was like the perfect American
The
dream.
happy
And
place. Maybe that was like her happy place.
yeah, and like
Yeah.
that's what she's trying to emulate. But I don't know, but like what you said though, I'm still kind of thinking something is going on here, because we've seen another commercial in this episode. There's like a watch commercial, and there's Hydra on it.
Strucker watch.
A Strucker watch.
And it's a Strucker watch, who Strucker was the guy who experimented on Pietro and Wanda with the Mind Stone.
Yeah, back in Age of Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
One Cap just like kicks, right?
Yeah.
Or like hits with the shield. He just like kicks it up into his face.
Yeah. So now we know, and I don't know if we mentioned it before, that Stark toaster was beeping, similar to the Stark bomb that never went off.
Oh,
that was threatening them.
That's right. That's right.
So the idea, I guess, is that these commercials are kind of representing her past trauma.
Mm. Okay. Yeah.
And that Strucker would be part of that. The Strucker watch, with Hydra.
Something that kind of breaks her reality, maybe. Like
maybe.
Because that's. Oh, so let's finish up episode 2 here. Then we'll finish this kind of this thread. But I'm still thinking they're trapped in the Matrix here. Talent show goes on. Vision becomes just a drunk because he's chewed gum and it gets caught in his gears.
Which I thought he was made of some sort of like nanoparticle material or something.
He's an organic with. He's like Ultron mixed with like organic flesh, so he's like a hardened vibranium person. Magic thing. Vibranium's like magic, and then Ultron went into him. Thor put lightning into him, so that's what made Vision.
Right. He's just made of all these different things.
So like,
it's science, people. We know what it is. Like, we know.
That's it. Just a simple formula.
That's what it is.
You follow step 1 through
Here's the
200.
recipe for your own vision. All right.
Make a vision. Watch Age of Ultron. And everyone who's been shitting on Age of Ultron, like now here we go. You have to watch Age of Ultron to get all this stuff here. So
Age of Ultron's a good movie.
I like Age of Ultron. I think I like it more than the first one. I think I like the first Avengers back when it came out because I was like, this has never ever happened before, right?
Right.
Like, we've never seen all the superheroes all together. When I watch it again, though, I'm just kind of waiting for them to team up and fight the whole movie. I'm just kind of all right, let's get to it. Like, all right.
Yeah.
Age of Ultron, though, like they're all together. I like seeing them all together. They're having fun. Then they have to worry about Ultron, and it's this weird AI thing. And
you get more Andy Serkis in it too.
Yes,
which is his. I wish his character didn't die so quick. And
in Black Panther,
because he was really cool.
I would have liked him. He did great in that. But anywho, WandaVision here though. Yeah, you have to watch Age of Ultron to understand these references here.
But yeah, we were talking about how Vision apparently has like 3 giant gears in his stomach that makes him operate.
And his gum just, and then he got all
Whoa,
drunk. It was, so zany sitcom thing that
wacky. Yeah.
just wacky
And it was kind of a cool scenario where they were at the talent show and he was using real magic.
his real powers of like flight and
yeah, and she had to like use her magic to make it look like it wasn't magic. So it was kind of I kind of was interested there. I was like, "Ooh, how is she going to make that one look like it was
Some
real?
of them were like so insulting though. Like he flew like up into the air, and then all of a sudden, like she like zap, and then there's a rope.
And the guy's like, "Oh, there's a rope." Again, these people are weird in this town. There's something about them.
Yeah, it was funny too. Like the piano, he picks it up. It's a real piano, and then she like does an illusion transformation, so it's just like a piece of cardboard that she can lift. And the guy was like, "That was my grandma's piano."
It's so interesting. And yeah, so they're playing dumb like they would in a sitcom back then, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so that goes off though, and they're like, "Oh, it was great." And then they leave, they go home, and they're just like, "Oh, today was great" or something. And then I think either Wanda or Vision, they start saying like some weird stuff was going on, right? They hear some clanging, they hear a noise.
something, outside, right?
Yeah. And then they go outside to go see what's going on. And this guy in a beekeeper outfit climbs out of a manhole and like slowly turns to Wanda, and he has a sword on his back.
The sword logo.
The sword logo. And she's just like, "No." And rewind. And it just rewinds. They're back in the house. And they're like, "Oh, today was great, honey." And then she's just like, "I'm pregnant."
Yeah. So there's like that first inclination, they start, what the heck? Wanda can like have a little control here.
Yeah. That's what weirded me out. I was like, what is she's controlling? I mean, like what you said at the dinner scene, now that you've seen it, you notice like, oh, okay. Like she must have been controlling that scene. But when I first saw it, I was just like, it's a glitch. It's a glitch. But there it was, she literally says no, and it rewinds.
And it seemed like the radio thing in this one was also a glitch, like in the system. That's what it felt like. It's like, oh, the system's failing. It's glitching.
Yeah, or I thought someone was like trying to reach them, trying to that she was captured. And someone might be, because again, that guy like was climbing up through. And so apparently the sword logo, I didn't even notice the sword logo in the first two. They drop like a very overt sword thing in the third one for us people who were missing it, But apparently the sword logo was actually created by Joss Whedon. And it first came up in Astonishing X-Men. And in the comics, it was kind of like a space version of S.H.I.E.L.D. But it's now some sort of sentient weapon observation response division. So they're like they're still some sort of governmental S.H.I.E.L.D. equivalent thing. And I'm kind of wondering, like, after the beekeeper guy, I thought that guy was Hive, which Hive is like another Marvel thing because he was in a beekeeper suit. So the sword thing I just figured out, but
maybe it's connected. The beekeeper thing is so obscure, so I don't know. Like, it's weird.
And so it seems like someone's trying to reach her, and she's trapped in there. But then I also thought, like, is the beekeeper, is he a bad guy? Because we just saw a Hydra thing too. Like, are people coming in to manipulate her? So it threw up some more questions. But again, I felt like these first two could have been just mushed together, though, to a little bit less sitcom stuff. Still do the sitcom, but then throw in a little bit more hints, like some weird stuff's going on.
Apparently, there's a version of the comics, I guess, where Wanda actually like finds a way to works with the X-Men or something.
Yeah, in the comics, she is an X-Men. She's
an X-Men in the comics. So
yeah, she's Magneto's daughter. Her and her brother, were Magneto's children. And
I wonder
even
why they brought her into the MCU.
Well, so back when the MCU first started, they didn't have the rights to the X-Men. The X-Men were Fox, but they both
Ooh.
shared rights over Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, her brother, Pietro.
Yeah.
And so they were able to share the rights. And in X-Men Days of Future Past, Quicksilver pops up, and it's hinted at, and they eventually do confirm that he is Magneto's son, the head bad guy, anti-hero mutant. But then in Marvel, they didn't have the rights to X-Men at the time. Now they do. So if they wanted to, they could make it.
So could
Magneto's
this be
children.
like the bridge to cross it over? Who knows?
Oh, I didn't even think about that till right now. But
could be.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want that, but
that'd be interesting though. That'd be interesting.
yeah,
We'll say it here on the Screen Chronicles. We're predicting possibly X-Men coming in now because of Disney now owns Fox and all the X-Men and stuff. So they could
why
make
the heck
that.
not?
Why not bring in the X-Men?
Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much wrapping up episode 2. There's one other theory I'd like to talk about.
Yeah.
That I think we can talk about after episode 2. In the comics, there is a character named Agatha who works with Scarlet Witch sometimes. Have you heard of Agatha?
Mm-mm.
I guess she also has powers. She's like also witch-like, I guess. I don't, and again, I'm not a huge comic fan.
Me neither.
So, but the theory is that in that comic, she served the devil.
Oh, damn.
Agatha. In this show, Agnes is the best friend of Wanda Witch.
The neighbor who's like, my husband's an idiot.
Yeah. And you never see the husband.
Yeah.
You never meet the husband. She keeps referencing him.
Ooh.
And at the meeting, I think Dottie, I think her name is actually, she says, remember the devil's in the details. And this really weird line that I did not get when she said it. I didn't know what it meant. Agnes leans to Wanda and is like, that's not the only place he is.
That's right.
And then leans back.
That's right.
She also had a weird thing
weird.
with a rabbit. Yeah, it was weird. And it was like, I don't get that joke. I was like, that's a corny joke that I don't get. Did you just get goosebumps?
Yes, I did. Oh my goodness gracious.
So Agatha, maybe. And then we find out in the third one, as we move forward here, that she knows a little bit about what's going on. Because as we move forward at the end of episode 3, she like stops another neighbor from mentioning anything to Vision.
Yeah.
So it's clear that she has like an idea of this big picture of what's going on here, and she knows more than we realized. Also, she had a full made meal in like 2 seconds for Wanda.
That's right. That's right. Well, I thought that was just another like trope that they were trying to make fun of, that she's like, I'm always wife ready, and just like, I've always got a full made meal ready for my husband.
Yeah. And then there's like little lines like when she comes into Wanda and she's like, charmed Wanda. Like, is that just a corny old line, or is she like talking about we're all under your charm here or something, These little details I feel like in the first 2 episodes we're gonna realize more the second time we watch them.
Are we gonna get the devil in the MCU? Are we gonna get
the devil?
Beelzebub?
That'd be crazy. So that's another theory here, is that Agnes is not who she appears to be. She knows more, and maybe she is portraying Agatha. And apparently there's also a storyline that has to do with a baby in the comics. And I don't know too much about that, so I won't talk about it.
Okay. All right. But the episode ends and it goes to color, and it's like in the 70s now. And then the third one picks up with that, and it feels kind of like an old, like Happy Days,
Brady Bunch. I got the vibe, but kind of like
like a 60s, 70s sort of sitcom. Now where we're going, and I was just like, I kind of want to just keep watching a sitcom, but I was like, Colby told me this is a good one. I'm gonna keep watching.
Yep.
And
this one's all about them getting ready for the baby, pretty much.
Yeah, the baby just starts to like grow exponentially. They're like, she's like 4 months or 6 months along right there. And that's when the doctor He's like,
Yeah.
women understand better with fruit.
Yeah.
It's a this and that.
Well, her belly is that, but she's only been pregnant for like hours.
Yeah.
Because
And
Vision asks, like,
what
he
about
asks the
12
doctor,
hours? How
yeah,
big would
and
it
he
be
thinks
then?
he's joking or something,
He's like,
you know, but it's true. So that kind of, I thought time had gone on or something. I thought like at first,
yeah.
maybe like they just kind of skipped ahead in time, but no, like it only been a few hours and she's like still growing like crazy. And so the doctor thinks it's okay to go on a vacation right now because he's like, oh, it's not going to be for another 9 months. And, you know, so I don't know. He thinks it, but another few months. So he leaves, you think.
Well, he's
And
trying to leave.
he's trying to leave. He's trying to leave. So anyway, it's just like this wacky episode. She makes this like, was it a pelican or a stork or something?
Yeah,
The
she makes a room
stork
with a stork in it
on the
for like the
wall,
baby room.
on the baby room, right? And that becomes important later, which I was like, that was wacky.
Yeah.
And things are like glitching on Wanda's powers here in this episode. It's like the closer she gets to giving birth,
Yeah,
the
more
more
she's
like
just,
her powers are like making like
weird stuff happen.
weird stuff happen.
And then Vision's like outside doing his like standard sitcom husband duties, you know, like, oh, no, no. And then the neighbor who's like trimming the hedges is starts to glitch out and he starts like cutting through the brick. And then
And he's
Vision's
like
like,
staring at him.
yeah, he's like, hey, like,
But this is all
like,
after Geraldine showed up.
oh, that's right, Geraldine.
So Geraldine, who the character appeared in the second episode, and she was just kind of a friendly person. You know, it was a new character to us. We didn't realize she was a new character to this world that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
And she showed up like as if she was a big friend of Wanda, and she like invited herself in. It was all wacky show, you know. Wanda was like, "Get out of here! I'm having a baby. I don't want you to know."
Yeah, she's like trying to cover it up, and like the stork that she made. Now she made like a real stork is like trying to come in.
That's like part of her glitch. Like
yeah.
She made a painting on the wall, but her glitch made it a real stork, and it's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And she has to like throw stuff at it to get it to go away because it won't listen to her powers.
And it's such like a classic, you know, sitcom stuff. Like, oh, like
it's literally tugging on her pants, and she doesn't notice it. So it was really corny.
And then it's like it poses like right where the stork was on the wall in the bedroom.
Yeah, it just happens to
so you
when
can't
Geraldine
see it.
goes in to look. Yeah. It's making all these sounds, and Geraldine's like, "What was that?" Turning around. But anyway, so Geraldine's inside, and then Vision's out there, and that neighbor is like staring, and Agnes is leaning against the wall too. And they're like talking, like, and looking at Vision and whispering, and it's really creepy, kind of weird. It's like the neighbors are like being all sketchy. All of a sudden, they're hunky-dory, happy people anymore. They're like serious and talking over here until Vision comes up, and Agnes like, "Oh, hi," you know, and they go back. And the neighbor, I think his name's Herb.
Yeah.
Neighbor. And yeah, he's just sawing through the wall.
He's like, Herb there, you're messing up. And he's just like, just keep going through.
Just glitch.
Just glitching out.
And they start going like something about, you need to be careful about that Geraldine.
Yeah.
She's new to town.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, he's like, "Oh, really? She's new?" And they're like, "Yeah, so new, like she doesn't even have a house here." And she's like, she just came here because we're all. And he paused. He stops after that, and Agnes looks really worried. Like, "Don't you say what you're about to say." And he keeps saying like, "You know, because we're all." And Vision's like, "We're all what? We're all." And then Agnes just like defuses it. She's like, "Nope, go away. Like, don't tell him."
And she looks worried though. But now that you're saying
worried.
that she might be the wife of the devil though, yeah, I wonder what her role is. I'm getting more curious.
Also, I went back and I'm not going to take credit for this because I saw it in one of the review videos, but if you go back and watch where they're doing the talent show, there's a part where Vision's doing real magic for a second before Wanda covers it up, and Agnes like picks up her purse looking really worried. And as soon as Wanda covers it up, she kind of does like thing. as if she thought they were going to blow the cover or maybe something like that, which I never would have noticed like before.
Yeah. And
So
it's
there's
really interesting because then Wanda ends up giving birth. Vision goes to go get the doctor because he hasn't been able to leave yet.
His car like wasn't working or something. Yeah.
And Geraldine is helping her give birth. And the whole room is just portraits are spinning and stuff. And she's like, oh,
When her water broke, it was raining.
yeah.
It's all wacky.
So she helps her give birth then. And then she has one kid. And you're like, oh, that's nice, And then Vision shows up with the doctor. It was a nice moment. She was just like, don't you want the Geraldine and the doctor leave? And she's like, don't you want your kid to see your real face, Vision? And he goes back to robot face. So I was like, oh, that's a nice moment. Like,
yeah, that's cool.
There, like, don't you want your kid to see your real face? And then I think she has another contraction or something there. And then she has another baby. So she has now twins. And they named one Johnny and one Billy, I think, right? Because those are the names they wanted to do. Or she wanted Johnny, he wanted Billy.
Was it Johnny?
Or
maybe it was Johnny.
I think
but,
so.
Yeah.
Whatever name she wanted, he was like, all right, we'll name him that when it came out. And she was just like, oh, you're gonna name, and he's like, yeah, of course, yeah.
And then the second one came and
yeah. And
but we missed a big part of this episode.
What?
Earlier in the episode, before all this stuff happened, it was just Wanda and Vision talking. And Vision is kind of thinking a lot, and he's like, Wanda,
shit,
yeah. It's like it's been wacky, it's been weird and goofy, and Vision gets real serious all of a sudden.
Yeah.
He sits on the couch and he's like, Wanda, I think something's wrong here, Wanda.
Mm-hmm.
And it like immediately like weird film cutback to like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
And Vision totally says something completely different.
Well, he says like the same thing that he opens up with when he's like coming to sit down with her. But then when he sits down, then it's just like all nice, like, I'm so excited for our baby or something.
Yeah, we're going into uncharted waters or something.
Yeah. And I was literally touching my remote like as he was talking to her the first time.
Yeah.
And he was saying like, oh, I'm noticing Herb just did something weird out there. He's like cutting through the wall. Like all these weird things are happening. And then that happens. Like I was touching my remote. I wanted to see how long the episode was. And I was like, oh shit, did I just mess that up? Because like it starts over again. So I rewind it then. But he was saying something different. So I was like, did I just skip somewhere? What did I do? And I rewound it and watched it again. And I was like, oh, and it looked like what you said, like how the old way, how they might edit something where like the film, like they have to like piece the film together is how editing used to happen.
Had like a quick like fuzz like in the middle. Yeah.
And I think you did the same thing kind of, right?
Yeah, I wondered like, did I hit a button? I really was like, what the heck just happened? Or it was either that or did they make a mistake of the show? But no, it was an intentional cutback because
Vision started
maybe
bringing up
Wanda.
Yeah.
Did it?
And that was like
another one. Even at this point, I didn't think Wanda. I thought whoever's running this system hit a reset right there.
I was
at the end of this episode. Now I think it was Wanda.
Yeah.
Because
the end of the first one, the rewind happens, and I'm just like, maybe
the second one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the second one. Sorry. Yeah, the rewind happens, and I'm just like, oh, maybe the people in the beekeeper thing, they didn't want her to see that or something. But then this time, I was like, she definitely didn't want him to like keep going down that track, because then he was just instantly nice husband again.
Right.
But then she gives birth, like we mentioned at the end of this episode here, and it's twins. Vision goes and takes the doctor back to his car. While he's gone, Geraldine and Wanda are alone together, and they start talking about the babies. And Wanda brings up, I was a twin, and it does run in families. And then Geraldine's just like, your brother was murdered by Ultron. And Wanda's like, what did you just say? And then
before that, she was even like, I had a brother named Pietro. And she even does her little Sokovian accent when she says his name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she hasn't had her accent at all, too. This whole
not since Infinity War.
Yeah, not since then. And so that was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
There,
it
you're
starts
like,
getting weird.
yeah, it starts getting weird, and then like Wanda is just like, what are you saying? Like she looks like confrontational here, and then she
Yeah.
notices Geraldine has a sword necklace around her neck.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, what is
She's like,
that
who are
necklace?
you?
Yeah, who
Yeah.
are you? What is that? And Geraldine's like, I just said that babies are nice or something.
And she's starting to get real worried.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you don't see what happens, but then Vision comes back in after he talks to the neighbors about Geraldine.
And the neighbors are making Vision like real nervous. Like we think something's gonna happen. Like
Yeah,
I'm even thinking, is Geraldine about to like do something to the babies or attack Wanda? Because like
yeah,
they're making her seem out to be this bad guy.
yeah.
These neighbors.
He goes inside and it's just Wanda there, and she's just like, right in front
All
of the babies.
happy. There's no Geraldine around.
Yeah, and yeah, and it was pretty crazy. And they're just like, oh, this is going to be a great adventure or something.
But Geraldine, I was like, get out.
Yeah, that was crazy. And then we cut back, and now we're like in, I guess, the real world, and we
Something. It looks weird. It's kind of weird.
yeah, Geraldine like comes like flying out, lands on the ground, does a few rolls, and then just all these military vehicles pull up to her,
Yeah.
helicopters and Humvees, and you see like there's this like fence sort of projection thingy, and I can't remember if there was like a dome kind of bubblish
Yeah, it seemed like it.
thing too, right?
Yeah, it did. It did.
And it was like, oh, what is that? So I'm kind of thinking now too, and some of this is too just some thoughts I've had just since we've been talking.
Yeah.
But I was originally thinking like, all right, this is Wanda's world then. These guys are maybe they're influencing it, or maybe they're just like trying to get her out of it. Like she might have created this whole little bubble of reality here, and like they're trying to like break in and like maybe try and either get her out, or like they're trying to understand why she's doing this, because like maybe it's messing up something in the real world. What do you think about that? What did you think about what is going on there?
Yeah. I don't know the motives yet. I don't know anything about the motives, except maybe that somebody's trying to get her to have a baby, or she just maybe tricked herself into having one somehow. Like maybe. I think that there's more than one. I don't think it's just one thing. I think she's manipulating this world. But I also think she might be in some kind of simulation that an outside organization has her going through or something.
Yeah.
I still think that there's like a bigger picture with another organization. And I also think that these characters inside of it, there's something more to them, especially Agnes. And I don't know if Agnes is good or bad. I think she is somebody important. And I think some of these characters like might have their own motives too that are inside of this with her. So it's interesting. But again, I don't know the motives. I think there's maybe three different teams here. Sword, whoever Agnes in the neighborhood people are, and obviously Wanda herself. And I will go on a limb and say this. I think Vision is totally fabricated. I think Vision is a total fabrication from Wanda in this, because if we go by, unless we're on no. I think almost any timeline, Vision's probably dead, right?
I think, yeah, because nothing changed after, Endgame. That was something they tried to make very explicit, that they didn't change the timeline at all. So everyone who was dead, like
other than the Snap.
The Snap people they could bring back. All the people who got dusted, they brought back. But Vision, Black Widow,
he didn't die from the Snap.
Yeah, they're dead.
He died from the pluck.
Died from the
pluck. The pluck. Oh my god.
That was crazy too. I mean, she's got to be so traumatized, and like she clearly loved him. They fell in love in Infinity War. And then she has to kill him. And then Thanos comes, rewinds, brings him back, rips it out of his skull. Like, oh my god.
Not only does it happen, like you think you won.
Like you think you have to kill the person you love, they weren't married, but like their spouse, and that was another thing too. They were like, why don't you have any rings if you're married or whatever? That's probably something she just wanted to have from him, right? They probably something they talked about.
That's a good point. That's another good point.
But yeah, so like it's got to be a big traumatic thing. And I was thinking originally though that the the stuff we were seeing in the commercials were Hydra like glitches, like, oh, like Hydra's influence. But now I'm kind of wondering what you said. Maybe these are just traumatic things that are sort of like disrupting her reality here that she's created.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And that's why I'm hooked on the show now. Another thing, there is a painting on the wall in one of the, I think episode 2 in her house. There's like a picture on the wall.
Yeah.
And it's a picture of the place where her and Pietro, like the building where her and Pietro were experimented on. Just a little detail there.
So what I'm thinking is, well, first of all, I thought at the time, I thought Herb was going to say we're prisoners. And that's
what you thought? Okay, I wasn't sure what he was going to say. Interesting.
And I thought Agnes didn't want him to say that, because it seems like if you break Wanda's reality here, if you start to bring her back to reality, then you get booted out, like how Geraldine was.
Also, take notice that the guy who choked in the first episode has not been in the show since.
Good point.
Although Mrs. Hart has been.
She has.
She was at the talent show.
Oh. So maybe
but her husband was not. But I don't know why, because she saw everything, so I don't know why.
Well, that's right.
She would
he
not
was like,
out.
He was like, tell me, damn it. Tell me, like, where are you from? Like,
right.
Maybe that's because he was breaking the simulation.
Maybe he was pushing too much on the buttons. And
that's why
his heart was just all oblivious, and
yeah, and that's why he started choking. Maybe he started to wake up and started to question.
I read theories that Wanda made him choke or something too.
That's what I'm thinking right now as I'm saying this. I'm thinking she made him choke. So yeah,
it's creepier the more you think about it.
Well, now here I am. I'm thinking that the sword people, I think they might be the good guys, even though that's
the thing.
They might be being presented as the bad guys. I think they're trying to figure out what's going on with her reality world here. And I think they're trying to wake her up. I think they're the one that came in through the radio at her dinner party. And I think the guy that came in through the sewer grates was like basically like trying to like stay like himself in this reality, because Geraldine seemed to have fallen into the reality, right? Like I think she was sent there on a mission to befriend Wanda, figure out what's going on, get her out, fix this situation.
Yeah. And I don't think Geraldine was like a bad thing. No.
I think her and the sword people, I think she was
that's a good point.
On a good mission. But then I think she broke the radio, she started to wake up. I think once you enter this reality, you enter it. Like you lose what's going on in the real world.
Right. And she started to have realizations. Because when she talked about Ultron, she was like realizing it. She's like, your brother was more by Ultron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't just like she knew that, like, and she came in and told it was like she had that realization after they were talking about it.
At the time I was thinking that she was like trying to like corner Wanda, and I was just like,
I thought she was a bad character. I was like, oh, she gonna.
But now I'm thinking she was just waking up from the Matrix there, Wanda's Matrix.
And I think with the radio, I think they were asking Wanda, who's doing this to you? Maybe they're trying to help her without realizing that Wanda is doing this.
Yes. But I think maybe the reason that one guy was in a beekeeper outfit was because maybe he was like in like a hazmat suit to try and like protect himself from the dream world or something, but it showed up as that or something, you know what I mean?
Or she manipulated it into being that.
Yeah.
It could be a bunch of different things. Just like she manipulated that helicopter, I think.
Well, yeah.
Being a toy helicopter.
Back to the helicopter. I'm wondering if the helicopter was flying overhead, like we heard a noise. It was trying to figure out what's going on. And she would just like subconsciously, bam, toy helicopter, to make it from breaking reality. So, but yeah, because it was from the outside world, it was stayed color though, or whatever.
Ooh, man.
Oh, damn.
Oh, it's cool.
All right. Cool, so now I'm even more psyched to see the next WandaVision after this.
Yeah. And I want to go back and rewatch now and see like all these little things and all these little details. Yeah. There's also, they dive even further into the, with the Agatha theory that her wedding anniversary with her husband was June 2nd, which was the day the Salem witch trials started. Which could just be a coincidence, but maybe not.
I doubt it. I do like how Marvel normally is pretty keen on the details and references and
Yeah.
stuff, you know,
And then
for
also
hardcore
like
fans.
with the rabbit, like could that have been the devil just manifesting into another form or something? When she brought the rabbit. I don't know. There's all these
or it's like a
crazy
witch
things
symbol.
now.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's cool.
Ooh,
And then there's all this cool stuff. But otherwise, WandaVision is to me, it's a really refreshing kind of feel for a superhero thing that I think is going to turn into something completely different than how it started. And I think it's going to be a little bit mind blowing. It's already been like very exciting. I love stuff like this where you can have theories. It kind of makes me feel back when episode 7 of Star Wars came out. I was like, what if it was this? What if this person's involved, you know?
And then the Last Jedi happened.
Yeah, so I hope the rest of the season is not like the Last Jedi.
Let us know, guys, what you think.
Yes.
Let us know your
Please.
theories too, because a lot of this stuff, you know, we did some
don't know.
research, but we're not huge comic. I barely read any comics ever.
Yeah. So we're trying to come up with these conclusions on our own because we think it's fun.
Mhm.
We might be completely wrong, but if you have a great theory, put it here, and we'll give you credit.
Yeah.
I think somebody in one of our other videos, somebody just commented on Toby Regbo one saying, "I call it here. He's going to win an Oscar within 10 years."
Okay, we'll keep that in mind.
And I commented back. I was like, "All right, like we see it. We got you."
So anyway, let's move on to our second topic here today, and that is Wonder Woman 1984. Some non-spoiler thoughts real quick. If you're deciding to watch it or not yet, it's been out on HBO Max for a while, and I think it came out in some select theaters. This is COVID world we're dealing with here. Generally, I didn't hate it. I loved the first one though. I loved the
first one was so good.
I remember
it was like the only bright spot in like the Justice League series. Like
hands down,
Aquaman was
best.
okay. I didn't really like Aquaman. I know you liked it more than I did, but
I enjoyed
Wonder Woman was like the best. Like out of all of those movies.
As far as being a solid movie with like some great messages and themes and
characters.
I love the time period. I thought it was by far the best DC cinematic universe movie. Yeah. And I just thought it was a good superhero movie in general. I mean, I remember I was just like, man, that was so cool. Like I said, if you watch our Wonder Woman 1984 trailer breakdown, I said in that one there, the first Captain America was kind of meh, like as far as nailing the period piece of like World War II, superhero in a world war. I thought Wonder Woman in World War I nailed it. Where Captain America was just kind of like, it's in World War II, and it just kind of montages through it, and it's Hydra, and it still feels futuristic throughout. So you never get like that gritty war feel, but she comes out of the trenches, fights through a town. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then, I mean, at the end, it does get a little supernatural with Ares, and
people complain about that,
Professor Lupin.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed
it. It was a cool reveal. It was a really cool reveal.
And the thing is, though, he didn't make them do those things. Everyone's like, well, it took away from the fact that men are evil and people are evil, people in general are evil, and that they just do this on their own, and you just kind of have to deal with it. But the thing was, though, he didn't make them do it. He just told them how to, that was the thing. So then we just were able to get a cool superhero fight. Anyway, this one though was pretty meh for me.
Yeah, I gotta say, this one didn't do anything for me. It really didn't do anything for me. I had a lot of red flags with this movie. A lot of things that I
did you dislike it? Did you like it?
I'm more on the I didn't loathe it. I didn't hate it passionately. Yeah, but I didn't really like it. And I'm leaning toward the dislike side of this movie. I was pretty disappointed in it. And that's even with Pedro Pascal, who's very quickly becoming one of my favorite actors, especially after Mandalorian. And I don't think he had a bad performance necessarily. I just don't think he was dealt a really great deck of cards with this one. I don't know.
Yeah. But first of all, let's just give it a general score here, just so I can fill out a little bit more where you're at. So 0 being no fun at all, 10 being whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
I'm giving this a 5.5 is what I'm giving.
Okay. I'm gonna give it. I feel like I'm being generous. I'm gonna give it a 4.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna give it a 4. Because I think that represents leaning toward the dislike side.
Yeah, I think so.
Being at a 4. Again, it wasn't like I need to turn this off. It was just at the end of the movie, I was like, man, that I was pretty excited for this movie, and that kind of disappointed me. And I don't really like. There's a lot of things I didn't like. So let's kind of jump into the spoilers here.
Jump into spoilers here. General plot of it is, this Pedro Pascal's character ends up getting this monkey's paw sort of wish thing that's
called the
Dreamstone. And he ends up becoming the Dreamstone. And then anyone who touches him makes a wish, it comes true. And he uses this to like become like an oil tycoon, but then he wants more power. It gets
because what happens with the Dreamstone is that when you make a wish, before it was Pedro Pascal, when you touched the Dreamstone, you made a wish and it took what was most valuable to you.
But then you got your wish.
And then you got your wish, but it also took what was most valuable to you, which I feel like there was a little bit of inconsistency with when Pedro Pascal became the Dreamstone, because I feel like he could kind of control what he took from people.
Well, even a little bit before that, it's kind of confusing. But yeah, and it goes through that. Also, Kristen Wiig, who I thought was good in this, she becomes another cheetah villain, someone for Wonder Woman to beat up physically, because her and Pedro Pascal really don't fight. And
so at the beginning of the movie, she's like this goofy, really smart but goofy but super nice and friendly girl who just has like no fashion.
She's not good with people, not very confident.
She's not good with people, but Max Lord kind of uses that to manipulate her into like getting access to the Dreamstone.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, when she finally makes her wish to be more like Diana, not realizing Diana was Wonder Woman, she starts to get her superpowers, and she can walk in high heels all of a sudden. She can.
She's more physically attractive and confident, and she starts to get super strong.
Wears better clothes. Everybody's like attracted to her at the office all of a sudden, and everyone before they were like attracted to Diana.
And but then
she starts to lose. For example, like she starts to lose that niceness.
Yeah, her personality, or that people like,
which is
about her.
Why she kind of becomes like a little bit evil, I guess.
Yeah, and then Wonder Woman, Diana,
Wanda Witch and Wonder Woman,
Wonder Witch. But she wishes for Steve Trevor back. She's clearly missing him. And then he comes back in a weird way. I was wondering how they were going to bring him back.
I still don't get this way, but yeah.
So he basically possesses another guy, I guess. Like the monkey's paw wasn't like, sure, I'll bring back his physical body with him intact and everything. It was like, no, I'm going to possess another human being.
Even though it did bring about physical manifestations, though, for other people's wishes. Maybe not people, but like...
Yeah, right? Like physical things would happen for that.
Would pop out of nowhere. So
but then weird. For him, it was like, no, we can't bring his body back. We're just going to possess
we need to transfer his
else.
Consciousness into somebody else's body, take their consciousness, put it on pause, and everybody else is going to see the other person. But Diana is going to see Steve Trevor, and that's how it's going to work.
Even at first, she sees just this random guy who like looks like the poor man's version. If like someone was like, "Oh, you look kind of like Chris Pine," it's like the guy that like doesn't look like Chris Pine, but if you had to give him any celebrity, his facial structure is maybe the closest.
Right.
To
okay,
Chris
I'll
Pine.
give you that. Yeah. He doesn't look like anybody, but like
he doesn't look like anyone.
Like,
but if you're like at the office and you're just like,
dude.
You look like this celebrity. You look like this celebrity.
Yeah. But he's like an attractive dude. So I didn't really buy this whole like you transfer. I was just confused, and even after the movie ended, I didn't really get why that was Steve Trevor. And there's also like a lot of ethical things about using somebody else's body. And
it's so funny too, because at the end she sees that guy. Because she like renounces her wish to get her powers back and all this.
Yeah.
And the guy shows up and like is standing next to her, and she just like looks at him, like kind of remembering Steve Trevor. But I've looked at it as like she looks at him, like smiles, like, I fucked you.
Yeah, without your consent. Like your consciousness was trapped and I used your body for my pleasure. Like That's kind of fucked up when you think about it.
It is, right?
That's a little bit like when you really think of, we're probably getting way too deep into it because she was with Steve Trevor. I'm not saying Wonder Woman's a rapist, but Wonder Woman is a rapist. Okay.
Don't start that as a hashtag, people.
It was a little weird.
But yeah, but like, I'm just like, why did they just physically bring him back? Like, were they like, because I guess they were like trying to make it more grounded, but at the same time, it's just like, let's just.
This monkey paw was not grounded at all.
It's magical.
And that was my kind of thing with this, just the plot with the Dreamstone. And I'm sure it's in the comics or something. And
yeah, someone's going to be like, well, this one line explains this, but it just wasn't consistent.
To me, it was like too Disney fantasy, like a Disney princess movie where there's a wish, you get 3 wishes or something. And that's kind of what the Dreamstone felt. Love the twist though, even though we were already in this scenario, I do love the twist when Pedro Pascal was like, I wish to be the Dreamstone.
Yeah,
that was cool.
I did not see that coming.
That was a cool twist within the movie. I liked that. Some things I didn't like I didn't really get the whole point of the whole intro scene with the really overdone stunts with Wonder Woman as Diana as a girl, and she tried to like cheat, which I didn't really like. I don't know, like she was inventive and found another way because she had got knocked off her horse and it was gone and she had nothing else to do.
I think the whole purpose of that was just because they say the line at the end, it's like, sometimes Wanda, sometimes Diana, you have to like give up what you want in order to do the right thing or something like that.
I think it was supposed to correlate to the wishes, right?
Well, it goes back to, that's what she says to Max Lord. I almost said Mad Max. I can't get any freaking names right now.
All these what are the alliterations today? Oh my god.
Yes.
Wonder Woman, Wanda Witch, Mad Max.
And so yeah, she says that to Max Lord at the end. Like sometimes you have to give up what you want to have what you want or whatever it is, because then he has to go save his son to get rid of he gives up the power and he renounces, so all the wishes go back. Which I get that they were trying to have something more sentimental than I'm fighting Ares, raw. I get that. That was like the one complaint from critics, but I was also like, But I think that's the only reason that they had that scene at the beginning. Or maybe it's because too that all those actresses were under contract to come back for a certain amount of movies. They were like, let's have them back then. Let's do the scene because again,
they're not in it like at all. Again.
No, you're not at Themyscira for this episode for this.
I don't have a huge issue with the training scene in the beginning. Like I'm fine with it being a little bit corny and overdone. Like because these Amazonian women are amazing.
Yeah, that's another thing I loved about the first one. I loved the Themyscira and seeing that those big women just beat each other up.
Yeah, but I just think the whole I know they were trying to parallel that message from the beginning to the rest of the movie, and I don't think it worked at all. I don't think it worked at all because I interpreted this her sliding down that slide as wow, what an innovative little girl.
Yeah,
her horse was gone. She had no other way of doing it. Was she going to sprint the lap? I know. I guess it's cheating. But
I was also just kind of how's this little girl beating all these grown women, right?
Because they're also Amazonian.
They're all Amazonians. I get that she's the god weapon. She's the son of Zeus or whatever. So maybe she has a little bit more power.
She's the son of Zeus.
She's the son of Zeus. Yes, she's the daughter of Zeus. But yeah, they're all Amazonians. They're all super humans, right? They're all super soldiers essentially. So why are they just getting chumped by this 9-year-old?
Yeah.
And also, wasn't in the first one, didn't the mother not want her to get trained or something? So that she's competing. So I don't know.
And now she's proud of her. She's smiling when she's doing good.
She was proud of it. The whole time she was resentful, even when she was a grown adult and they were training grown Wonder Woman. I remember her looking down, kind of frustrated, you're gonna push her and she's gonna reveal herself. But there she was just oh, good job, you're competing.
Yeah, so, and I just feel it was kind of a waste of it didn't do anything for me. I thought it was going to be connected to the movie. I know they tried to have it correlate. It didn't work.
And again, back to Marvel. Marvel is always consistent. I mean, I'm sure there's some little plot holes or whatever, but there's nothing ever that sticks out to me. I'm just that character's motivations have changed. What I mean?
That character's motivations would change. When you're at a Smithsonian plane thing, that plane's probably not going to fly. And also, it's probably not going to have the same controls that the World War One fighter jet
Right.
had.
So Steve
So
Trevor, when he gets in that jet, he's able to fly it. Like those go
like
significantly faster than
yeah,
the first planes ever. Those
I
I
think they
think
have
World War II
way
is the
more
first
controls
time
on it.
planes were ever used in a war. Yeah, there's way more controls. Yeah. It was cool that
So
they make it into like her invisible jet. But again, where did those powers come from? The invisibility
yeah,
powers from Wonder Woman?
yeah,
Where
she
did
could just
those
do
come
that
from?
so quick. She just did it like, oh yeah, watch this. Watch what I learned in the whatever how many years since World War One.
Yeah.
But anyway, as other thing too is like she just seems so heartbroken over Steve Trevor, like in the beginning of this movie.
Hmm.
And it's like it's not like he died yesterday or like it was like so many years have gone by.
He died in like the 20s.
And I'm not saying you
60
shouldn't be
years.
sad, right?
Yeah.
But it's just been like a lot of time and she's still just like really upset about it.
Another thing too that was kind of weird too, and I saw before I saw this, I saw one review that made the whole movie seem very political. It was like Wonder Woman's the perfect antagonist against this male society they're portraying, and like it was IGN
Protagonist?
by
Yeah.
the and yeah, and I was just like, oh, is this gonna be very political? I didn't feel like it was political at all. Like maybe
No,
you
I'm
could
sure
say
they did do
Max,
some undertones like that,
maybe.
but
The only thing I noticed was just like anywhere they went, like every guy was like, "Hey, you want to fuck? Hey, you want to fuck?" like,
that's true. That is true.
like
That
anywhere
was a
Wonder
little
Woman.
weird.
Well,
Yeah.
like yeah, like I get like maybe out on the street or like in a bar, but like at a high class party, you think everyone in suits are just gonna be up like, "Hey, want to fuck? Hey," like she would walk by. It was like so overdone. Like I get it. Like us men, we can be pigs sometimes. I get it, but it's like like the everyone she walked by.
Yeah. It was kind of weird. The other thing too is that when she saves the people at the mall in the beginning,
Mhm.
she like knocks out all the cameras and stuff, and she has some pretty cool fight sequences. But that really cheesy wink at the girl at the end, just like, what the heck? She was
Well,
like, she was literally like, and I was like, ooh, I didn't like that. I didn't like
yeah,
that at all.
they
Like,
they were
it
definitely
was,
trying to emulate like the old uh Christopher Christopher Reeves, I think. Yeah, Superman,
yeah,
the old Superman though, the original movie, and they were definitely trying to emulate that. And they emulated it a few times in the first one too, like when they're in the street and she has the glasses and she protects Steve Trevor. Even that franchise became so corny. Superman was like so helpful and didn't want to do anything wrong. Like he would go out his way to save things and like that's good and all, but like it would take you out of what's going on. It just feel corny.
yeah.
And like that's another time too when she was fighting what's Cheetah? She was fighting Cheetah at this point
Oh,
here, Christian Wiig's
yeah,
character at the White House. And from the trailer, I was like, this might be a pretty sweet fight. I thought it was kind of lame. And then also too, the whole time she's like trying to like save the security guards, and it's like
yeah.
it gets corny. Like she like
It's so corny.
ropes a chair for a guy from to land on. I was just
Yeah.
like
Like
come
it was
on.
pretty cool in the hallway when she was using the lasso to deflect bullets.
Yeah.
Cool. The thing is that you slowly realize while everybody else loses their thing after they make a wish, like super quickly,
Mhm.
like immediately, Wonder Woman for some reason gradually loses her powers. Those are the things that's most important to her.
Yeah.
And so it's not like a quick, it's just like very slowly she starts to lose her powers and she starts realizing it very slowly, which is kind of weird. So that's why she's not able to like fight Cheetah well. She kind of has to
Yeah.
resort to saving them. When she's doing the chase scene out in the Middle East there with
Steve Trevor
with
trying to
Max
catch up Max
Lord,
Lord.
and
Yeah.
yeah, she gets wounded. She
Well,
has a
that one.
super bad looking fly through the air where she's like running through the air that just didn't look very good.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even pick up that she was losing her powers until like she got shot. And I was like, but at the time I was just thinking, oh, maybe she's not bulletproof because we've never seen her
Yeah.
get hit with a bullet before. She was protecting herself with the shield and
Yeah.
her like armored boots back in the first one when she's crossing the trenches.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, she's just not bulletproof. But then they made it seem like that was not a thing for her. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, even that, which I thought was going to be a sweet scene, like she was like trying to like not kill guys And like,
I know.
I just felt like she had like was handcuffed the whole time. She was just kind of like pushing and like that's one thing I like about Marvel. Even though Captain America, probably what he would do to some of those guys in the Winter Soldier and Captain America
Yeah.
Civil War, he was probably killing them. But like, you could argue he wasn't. He wasn't shooting them. He was just kicking them really hard in the walls and throwing them around. So
They didn't cause any internal bleeding at all with a Captain
yeah,
America kick,
yeah,
But yeah, like anyway, that fight didn't really pan out. Like it was in the trailer and I thought it was gonna be super epic. No, not so much. The other thing is that the cheetah fight at the end, where also looked epic, where we get the golden suit from Wonder Woman, and Cheetah has, I guess she got a couple other wishes. She turned into like an animal.
yeah.
Like I don't know why she got like 2 wishes and everybody else
Again, that
got
seemed to
one.
break it
I don't know.
because Max Lord even said like you only get like so many wishes, and that's why he didn't like want his son to wish on him.
To touch him, right?
Yeah,
right.
he didn't want him to wish while he was touching him and stuff. But then
And why didn't Steve
Cheetah
Trevor just wish when Steve Trevor grabbed him? Why didn't he just wish to go back to normal at the end? It's like,
yeah, I don't know. But then, yeah, why did she get more wishes though? And then he's just like, well, I can do whatever I want. I'm the Dreamstone. And you're just like, when did
really?
you're
Because
making up
like,
rules?
you're making up rules. Like now you can take what you want from people. And she's like, I want to be a cheetah girl. Okay. Boom. What she meant was she wanted to be with like Raven Simone and the girls singing and dancing in a old Disney movie. But no, he turned her into a cheetah.
Yeah, he made her furry.
He made her furry. She is. And this fight looked, I gotta say, at times this fight looked really bad. The time I think about specifically was when they're like on the trapeze and they're like flying past each other.
Yeah.
And they grab each other and they spin 10 times as if it was like a dance almost. It was, it didn't look good.
I even thought that the golden armor too was gonna get like a real explanation how she got it. Like, oh, like this came to me because I'm worthy now, or like they discovered on the way, or it's part of the plot or something. But she's just like, oh yeah, I've had that. I found it.
Closet. Yeah, I think I'll wear this today.
Like what? Like why don't you wear that all the time then? If it's so easy to just
Cheetah Girl, she gets freaking electrocuted in water, and is like, I guess maybe the superhuman part of her would survive that. Maybe I guess, but. Okay, I won't complain about that then, because she did have superhuman powers at the time, so maybe that electrocution wouldn't kill her. Okay, I'll give you that.
But it knocked her out, though.
It knocked her out pretty good. And then we get this whole end scene with Max Lord. Oh, by the way, when he was in the president's office, I didn't really like this. How the president of the U.S. This might have been a political statement. When Max Lord's like, you could have anything in the world, anything at all, if you had wished for. What would you want? And he's like, definitely more nukes. I'm like, really? Like more nukes? Like, why not like world peace or like something like that?
At the very least, like America owns the world or something. Like I feel like that would be more of a thing. Like more nukes is just for that control. If you just say, I wish America was in charge of the whole world and I was the king of the world.
This was, Cold War era though,
Yeah.
Just so happens in this room when the president was there, it was like the exact thing that Max Lord needed to broadcast to the world that they were just briefing the president on. It was just like, oh, that's convenient.
The particles touch, so I'll be touching everyone. I was like, no, not in any way. No, you're not.
How convenient. How convenient.
I know,
and then he uses that to like grant all the world's wishes at once. And Wonder Woman's trying to stop, but he just produces this wind that prevents Wonder Woman from getting to him.
Yeah, right. like, what was that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
like she had her powers back, and she can fly now.
There was just no explanation for his powers, and it was so inconsistent. And I'm sure you could say, well, this line did it, this line explains it, but they were inventing lines to explain now the new rules. You know what I mean?
It was weird. I'm sorry, the movie didn't work for me. I really wanted it to. The first Wonder Woman was awesome.
Yeah. Also the effects too, awesome. When she went flying too. Maybe is that what you were saying?
I didn't really like the flying thing.
When she flew away from Steve Trevor after she wished him away.
Yeah.
It looked bad. Like it was so bad CGI. I don't know if the movie just wasn't finished or if they were just like they ran out of budget or if they were just like, it's going to HBO Max. Fuck it. You know?
I don't know. Like, yeah, just like she just didn't. It didn't look like flying. I mean, it
Ugh.
looked like she was learning to glide on the air.
But again,
It didn't look.
where
good,
did this
but-
come from? You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Some
So-
things I like though.
Yeah.
I
Go,
like
let's be a little
Gal
positive to
Gadot.
end. 'Cause-
I like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman.
I do too.
I thought everyone who acted in this movie did good. I thought Kristen Wiig. I thought Chris Pine.
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro
He was
Pascal.
he was like a good antagonist. He wasn't like a super evil person.
Mm-mm.
I thought his character was interesting. I just don't think he was dealt. I think he needed a little bit more character development.
Generally, so the action was okay. It was a superhero movie. I like seeing Wonder Woman and Chris Pine together. But yeah, I mean, we just kind of, we told you it wasn't good. It just didn't hold up. First one, great. You get back
Yeah,
to that.
probably the best movie in the Justice League saga, the first Wonder
easily,
Woman. And
easily the best one.
yeah, this one didn't pan out, and I'm sorry it didn't, because I really wanted this to be another good movie.
I think that
really.
they might have even realized that because some movies like Marvel's like Black Widow, they're like, no, we're not releasing this to streaming. We're holding off on that. Like we're holding off. Yeah, we'll let that Mulan crap go to Disney Plus, but we're holding on to Black Widow and all this other stuff. And then Warner Brothers was like, send it to HBO Max. Let them watch it on their couch. let them be disappointed at home.
Yeah. Now the reviews for it online aren't god awful overall, like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff.
That's what I mean. Critics seem to enjoy it. And again,
I don't
they
trust
seem to be
critics
reading
scores all the
into
time.
they seem to be reading into like political
The
things that
politics.
I don't even really see there. I think they want it to be there.
I mean,
because
maybe
it's a
the
woman.
president thing. Maybe the president thing. Oh, the man president will just want nukes and war.
Maybe
And it's like, it's really what you want. Like that was kind of like what?
Yeah.
Good talk today. We are Steve and Colby from the Screen Chronicles, and please subscribe, like, follow on all the social media platforms. We really appreciate it. And tell us what you thought of Wonder Woman as well. Don't forget to tell us about what you thought of WandaVision too. And we will be coming out with more WandaVision episodes in the future. Otherwise, we are signing off.